Welcome to the Oshkosh Area School District Brainpop training. In this training, you will learn about the advanced features of Brainpop that go beyond the movies. You will explore both Make a Movie and Make a Map and dive deeper into how interactive gameplay and creative coding activities can enhance student learning and formative assessment. You will leave knowing how to navigate the teacher dashboard and how to create assignments for students. Hopefully, when you're finished viewing this, you will dive in and create an assignment for your students related to content area that you are covering. Let's get started. If you're like me, you've probably already used Brainpop movies and perhaps quizzes within your classroom. But did you know that there is so much more? Any of these Brainpop activities can be paired with a movie to create an interactive assignment for students. Brainpop includes over 800 topics, 160 games, and thousands of support resources on the educator dashboard. If after this training you'd like to dive in further and learn more about the activities that are not covered, you may explore Brainpop 101, which you'll see at the top of your Brainpop dashboard. When you search a topic in Brainpop, you will see all the related activities that Brainpop has to offer, and you can explore those activities right from your teacher view. Every topic also has a direct link to standards, lesson ideas, the ability for you to create a quiz or access existing quizzes or directly assign that topic. A variety of topics and activities that Brainpop has to offer allows you to differentiate for students from the discover phase to the ability for them to learn while playing, and then finally creating to show what they learned about a topic. In Bloom's taxonomy, you can see that once students have discovered through viewing videos, we want them to climb up that pyramid and move into the creation phase to produce new or original work to show and deepen their understanding. Within the Discover phase, every topic comes with primary source topics and related readings that you are able to assign to students, and students are able to explore deeper beyond the movie about that topic. Next, though, we are going to dive into Make a Map and Make a Movie. To do that, I'm jumping over to my Brainpop account and I'm logged in. I've done a search for civil rights, which will bring up many topics related to that issue. I'm going to click on and we'll explore from Martin Luther King Jr. for all of our activities that you'll see in this video. So once I've clicked on Martin Luther King Jr., the movie related to him will show up along with opportunities to explore all of the related activities. I'm going to click on Make a Map, and we will take a look at how Make a Map works within Brainpop. When Make a Map loads for you within your teacher's view, you'll have the opportunity to work on your most recent map, create a new map, or draw from a template of maps that you have created. Students can also be assigned a blank map or a template map if you'd like to give them a jump start by having some icons on the blank canvas. I'm going to click Create New. Within Make a Map, students have full access to the movie that's associated with that topic. They can play the movie and they can insert clips from any section of that movie. So I'm going to click on Play the Movie. At any place in the movie, I can pause and I can use this camera icon to snap a picture. That picture will automatically appear in my Make a Map, and I can move it and decide where I would like to put it. Moving on down the line, if I click on Images, I have a whole lot of images directly from that movie that I can put directly onto my Make a Map. So we'll pull an image on, and you can see underneath anything you drag into the movie, there's the ability to add caption. So we'll add a caption or a label underneath that picture. So I can pull in images from the movie. I can pull in still images. You'll notice any image I pull in from the movie has a play button. So the student has access to the exact part of the movie that that image came from. So if they need a little memory jog as to what they learned about, they can push play and it would tell them something about that topic that they could use and then add to their caption. Moving down the line, every Make a Map topic provides keywords or vocabulary words that were used. So I can click and insert vocabulary words. And again, you'll see that play button exists, so I can play the exact part of that movie that that word was used and perhaps hear a definition of that movie to help me plan my map. If I do not see a keyword that I would like to use, students can add blank nodes, either oval or rectangle, and they can add their own label. So maybe they want to add their own label that says Montgomery bus boycott, and add that idea along with Rosa Parks. Also, in the images area, Brainpop gives the ability to search images. So if I wanted to look for a picture of a bus to go along with the bus boycott, I can click on that image and I can drag it on in. I can add a caption or not add a caption. Brainpop also has lots of images of Moby and some of the other Brainpop characters. So if students want to incorporate Moby into their map as well, they can do so. So I've added a few images. I'm not going to add a ton more for time purposes. However, the importance of a mind map or a make a map is for them to connect ideas. You'll notice any image that I click on has an arrow dangling from it, and I can make that arrow connect to any ideas that I want to. So maybe I want to connect those Jim Crow laws to Rosa Parks, and I can explain that bus laws existed in many states according to the Jim Crow laws. So I can connect that idea with an arrow. You'll notice when I click on that picture again, another arrow appears, which I can connect to as many ideas as I would like. The arrow can come with a label or without a label. And if I move an icon, it just will stretch out those arrows for me. The canvas, it's not an infinite canvas, but it's pretty big. So I can use those zoom in and zoom out features and scroll the canvas to give myself more room to add tons of ideas. So it offers the opportunity for students' ideas just to expand as far as they'd like to take them. We'll connect that bus. You'll see by clicking on any image that's added, there's an editing pencil. I can delete that picture or I can change the coloring with it. So it offers for a little bit of creativity. There is an undo and redo button and a lasso tool. If I click that lasso tool, maybe a student wants to change the color on everything. So we're going to lasso up everything. Now I just have one editing pencil and it will change all the icons to the color that they choose. So it offers just a little bit of creativity there. Students will have a save button. Brainpop does auto-save, but it's good for students to save here and there. There it just auto-saved. And students will also see a button that says submit to teacher, and that will send it directly to your teacher account so you can view and assess student work. Next, we're going to take a look at the Make a Movie creative activity within Brainpop. Again, with that same Martin Luther King Jr. topic, I've searched it and I have my icon for Make a Movie. So I'm going to click on it and it will take me into the interface for Make a Movie. And you can see on my dashboard, it gives me a chance to edit my latest movie and it gives me a chance to start new. When students make a movie in Brainpop, it starts out the same way that all Brainpop movies start, by answering a letter. So I'm going to click on answer a letter and I can write a new letter or I can choose from letters that Brainpop has. So I'm going to choose this letter just for time's sake. And you can see up at the top, I have a timeline that has all the scenes that are in my movie. So it's automatically added that letter into my scene. So I might start by showing students that they have the ability to edit their letter. They can add a background behind their scene, and they can also add sound. So if I click add sound, it gives the opportunity for students to record their own voice reading their letter, or a computer generated voice will do it for them. And notice it autofills that text, and I can change that text within here if I would like to and choose whether I want a male or female voice. So I'm going to save that recording. I can listen back to it if I would like to, and I'll click save at the bottom to get back into my movie. Now, where it says scene 1, it tells me my scene 1 is 12 seconds because that's how long it takes for that audio, and I can play that audio or I can delete that audio by clicking on the trash can. If I want to add a scene, scene 2 is right there, but there's nothing in it yet. So I can start by building that scene and I can drag in pictures, or maybe I want to start with a background And I'll just search for I can choose a plain background, or I'm going to search for a school background, and we can make it look like there is conversation happening on the school playground, perhaps. I can add a classroom background, and I could add characters in it that are introducing my scene. I can click on the build icon, and again, I can grab from many images from the Martin Luther King Jr. movie. I can click on see more, and maybe I can bring Moby into my movie. There's 2 Mobies. I can click the garbage can to get rid of them. And we'll add Moby in, and maybe my movie is starting by Moby asking a question. I can add text, and I can tap and type right within that editor. And let's drag that around. We'll delete that tap and type. And I can format that text by dragging on the outlines, make it bigger and smaller, so now it looks like Moby's starting out with a question. I could go into the build button, and I could grab a picture of Martin Luther King Jr. and pull him onto my canvas and resize him as much as I would like to. I can add up to 20 scenes. On each scene, there is a copy button and a delete button. If I copy a scene, maybe I want to continue with that same background, but I want to add to that scene. So I can delete my items, and I can use that same background by copying that scene. We'll go back to this original scene. You can add sound to any scene. So if I click add sound on this scene, again, I can use the computer voice, or I can record my voice to narrate. So I'll have a minimal amount of text on my scene, but I can have a script, or students can write a script to record their voice to teach their readers about their topic. I'll click save and move on out of here. It's saving my movie. The last feature is the draw feature. So students have the ability to draw and annotate. There's a limited amount of shapes. They could draw and connect ideas and use those draw tools in any way they wish. There's a color palette as well, and undo, redo, and erase all will erase the entire drawing. And that save button between steps is important. So I can add up to 20 scenes, and at any time I can click this preview button, and students can watch the movie through as far as they've gotten. So you see it will start out just like a regular Brainpop.
What does Martin Luther?
And you can hear that computer voice, and it will play through what I've got so far. I can close that movie, and then I can continue editing. Brainpop offers some paper graphic organizers that students could plan their scenes for their movie and use notes after they've researched a topic to create their own movie. Students could create a movie on any topic. It doesn't necessarily have to be a topic that's already preloaded in Brainpop. But if Make a Movie is connected to a topic, you have access to all these items. And again, there's a search Brainpop images, and it's going to pick some topics that it thinks I might like. So I could click on civil rights, and it's going to load a whole bunch more images that could go with that. So that is the Make a Movie within Brainpop. The Educator Dashboard has pre-made rubrics for both Make a Map and Make a Movie. The PowerPoint that I'm using has direct links to those teaching resources and to a template, which is a Google Doc template that you can edit to meet your needs. The next thing we'll take a look at within Brainpop is the quiz mixer. So from this page, I'm going to click Create Quiz. I can also take a look at what that easy and hard quiz are, but I'll click Create Quiz, and it's taking me into the quiz mixer, and it's already accessing the Martin Luther King Jr. hard quiz, which I could use as is. I can click on the arrow, and I can take a look at what are the questions included in this hard quiz. If I click on the plus button, it will allow me to add it to a quiz of my own creation. So I could create a new quiz. I've actually named a quiz Martin Luther Practice because I want to be able to edit those questions myself. I'm going to cancel out though, because this, and let's minimize this, the plus button here will allow me to add those questions, all of those questions to my own quiz. So there's my Martin Luther Practice quiz. I will click OK. And now you can see I've got 2 quizzes in my quiz mixer, and I can go ahead and click edit to edit my Martin Luther practice quiz. It's telling me it's a live quiz. It's going to be unpublished. I'll click OK. And now this practice quiz essentially belongs to me. It's pulled in all the 5 questions from that hard quiz. I have an editing pencil and a trash can. I like to do editing of any type. And then down at the bottom, I can add my own question. I can choose multiple choice, open-ended, or poll. I can choose what type of answers I want to provide. And I can choose whether I want a large or a small image. If I click on open-ended, this is what the interface looks like. I can select a point value. I can upload my own image to any of these quizzes, so not just Brainpop images. And I can also insert a poll, type my question and as many different answers as I want. We'll just do this really quick. And click add to quiz. So now you can see my quiz has 6 questions. 5 were the original ones that were brought in. And then my own question. Once I click finalize, it's offering me the opportunity to share with the Brainpop community. I could say yes, or I could say no thanks. So if I share it with the community, then my quiz will be searchable and other people can find it. So you can search for quizzes that others have created as well and edit. I can choose to randomize the question order, make it review or graded. I can allow it to be shared with other educators. I'm going to auto-generate a quiz code and publish that quiz. I can click done. I can give kids the code to enter, or much rather have you assign it to your class. And we'll take a look at the interface for assigning things to your class soon. You'll notice at the top of your teacher interface for Brainpop when you are logged in, you'll also have a button for Quiz Mixer that you can go directly there rather than from a topic. And from that Quiz Mixer, it will bring up your quizzes, and you can also search for other quizzes there. Next, we will take a look at creating an assignment for your students within Brainpop. When I've searched for any topic and the movie pops up, I can assign that movie directly from this button here. I can also assign an activity without having to assign that movie. I'm going to start from assigning that movie. So I'll click on that orange assign button. I can change the title of that assignment. I can add some optional instructions, and I can select a class that I'd want to assign it to. I can also assign to specific students. I can set a due date or schedule for later. Then I have the option to assign or add more features. I'm always going to add another feature onto that assignment, or perhaps a couple other features to give students some voice and choice in how they show their learning. So I'll click Add More Features and Next. And now I can select and add any of the activities that I plan on teaching or having my students use. So maybe they have a choice between Make a Map, and I will use a blank Make a Map. And now it tells me in green that I've added that activity. And maybe I also want to include a primary source reading so students have additional resources. And I want to give them a choice of using Make a Movie or Creative Coding. And I can assign whichever coding project I would like. And there we go. So now students have some choice in how they show their learning. At the bottom, I can also add a topic, and Brainpop will automatically pop up related topics. So if I click civil rights, now this assignment is getting a little more complex. Under Martin Luther King Jr., if I click the down arrow, I have added pieces. Under civil rights, I can also add the movie, a quiz, a challenge, or any of the other activities to go along with it. So we'll add Make a Movie to that as well. And then I'll click Next. I want you also to notice, though, that you have access to all the Brainpop Junior topics as well. So if you need to access topics that are maybe a little bit easier, or you need to differentiate for your students, you have that ability, even if you're within Brainpop, to access Brainpop Junior topics as well. We'll X out of there and we will click Next. In this interface, it will allow me to rearrange any pieces of that assignment. So I can drag, maybe I want them to access the primary source document before the map, and I will click Save. And now that assignment will appear on the student's dashboard the next time that they log in. When you're accessing student work from your teacher dashboard and you click on that assignment, it will look like this. You will see that the Martin Luther King Jr. movie is selected in white. If I click on the Make a Map activity, then I will see a list of all my students' names and who has submitted their work and who has not. If I click on View Work, it will open right up to that student's Make a Map. And up at the top, you'll notice that there are some arrows that I can move seamlessly from one student's map to another, making it an easy opportunity for students to share their work in front of the class on your BenQ board. If you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see you have an opportunity to submit comments and send those comments back to the student into their student account. So Brainpop assignments allow you to offer feedback on the student's work and give them a good opportunity to share their work with each other. So for students to log into Brainpop, they will be logging in through ClassLink and then through Clever. So if you haven't had them do this before, this is the way that they can access anything that you've assigned. They'll click Brainpop or Brainpop Junior, depending on their grade level. And when they click on their dashboard, this is what they will see. So I've got some screenshots of the student dashboard. So they'll have 3 tabs on their dashboard. They'll have to click the word dashboard, of course, to see it. They'll also have notifications and a little number. If you've assigned new things, they can click on the down arrow. There's enter code if you have a quiz code and you didn't directly assign the quiz. Projects will allow them to see any ongoing projects. A timeline will show them what date they've worked on various projects throughout the year. From any of these tabs, you can filter, you can select what classes they're coming from, and they can access and edit their assignments. Over on the right here, I've shown a view from the student dashboard of Make a Map. It looks really similar to what I showed you earlier, except you can see they have a Save button and they have a Submit to Teacher button. There's a little airplane next to it. Once they submit to teacher, then you have access to that product and you can assess it. From your teacher dashboard, this is a view that shows you what your Infinite Campus classes look like, and your homeroom class would just be labeled with your grade level. So any students that are tied to you through Infinite Campus will appear within your Brainpop classes. Those are automatically populated for you through Clever. The next thing I'd like to do is highlight the educator resources. So I'm going to pop out of the presentation and show you how you can locate educator resources. So we'll click back here, and I'm going to find the picture of Moby at the top of Brainpop, and I'm going to scroll down to Brainpop Educators. And from Brainpop Educators, you have a huge variety of pieces that you can look at. So on the Brainpop Educators side of things, you have lesson planning and professional development and a bunch of other things at the bottom, but I'm going to dive into lesson planning first, just so you can see what's available. Huge amount of resources through Brainpop. I really like the lesson planning resources. The tools and feature support is a great place to go if you need a review of how to use a tool. So if you're looking for step-by-step directions on how does Make a Map work, or how does the wordplay work that I just showed you, or the quiz maker. When you click on any of these, it's going to give you a video that you can watch. It's going to give you an overview. I love the step-by-step guide. And I believe those are resources that are directly connected to the slide deck that has been shared with you. There's a Google Doc that you can access that will take you step by step with pictures that show you how any one of the features work. I can click on lesson planning and I can search by topic. I can search by grade. So if I want to know about social emotional learning lessons. I can type in the search bar and have lesson ideas, videos, lesson plans, printables, along with standards. Professional development tab will give you different offerings. There's another link to that Brainpop 101 that I referenced at the beginning of the video. Implementation tips, which are really cool. Differentiation, there's templates. The movie pause points article is really good. I really like that idea of not just showing a movie, but pre-planning those pause points to allow for rich discussions within your class. The next thing we'll look at in Brainpop is the ability to gamify students' learning with a Brainpop feature called Game Up and a tool that's called a Snap Thought tool, which allows students to take pictures and type to show their thinking about any Brainpop game that they're playing. So there are games, and also there is something called Sortify, and I will show you both. So we're going to jump back onto the dashboard. And if I scroll nearly down to the bottom, you will see that I have a button for Play Sortify. And if I scroll a little further, there's a button for Game Up. So I'm going to start with Game Up. When I click on Game Up, the front page is going to change based on what's happening in our country. So you can see the election collection matches, and they have a lot of really good government type activities. So let me just click there. And that takes me into the game finder. And it's defaulting to the election collection for me. I can do a sort by games. I can search my games. I can sort by subject, by grade, and by time to play. I'm going to click on the game, Do I Have a Right? And with any game that you might have your students play, I would highly recommend that on your own, you play the game all the way through. So I'm going to click on Play Game. So now the game is loaded, and when I'm first introducing this game to students, I'm going to play it in front of them, but I'm going to pretend that I've never played it before. So I'm going to ask them at each screen, well, what do you think I should do? What do you notice? What should I do? Well, I'm going to click on New Game. And if I had an existing game, it's going to let me change. I'm going to pick this Bill of Rights edition and click Continue. I can pick my character, name myself, and continue. So I'm going to ask my students, what do you notice? What should I do? And they'll say, oh, I noticed that it says I'm going to select my lawyer partner. So I'm just going to click allow them to read it with them, and make a decision together. Even if I know that they're making a decision that's maybe not good for their gameplay, we're going to go ahead and let them do it and allow them to learn from their experience. So we'll click Continue. Now I'm going to scroll a little bit while this game is loading. My law firm is opening, and we're going to take some law cases. We'll click OK and cut the ribbon and go on in. And we are open for business. So as the game is loading, I want you to notice the orange camera icon at the bottom. Many games will say that they are Snap Thought enabled, which means that students are able to take pictures throughout their gameplay. And not only that, they'll be able to show what were they thinking at that exact moment in the game when they snap this picture. So as the game loads, I'm going to ask them, well, what do you think I should do? Now, I know that I could take a tour and learn how to play, but I'm going to ask students to click around, tell me where to click, and make some decisions. So they might tell me to click OK. They might tell me to look at some of the resources down below. They might say, hey, well, let's click on this guy and see what happens, or let's click on her and see what happens. So we've clicked on her, and she has a complaint. Now I'm going to take that snapshot right here and show you where students can document their thinking. It's important when students are playing a game, they understand that it's more about strategy than necessarily the outcome of the game. So I'm going to click on the photo library and you can see an exact snapshot of that point in the game. And then students could write a description saying this is what they think. Does Jenny liar? Does she have a right for her case or does she not? How do I know? What were my strategies? What resources did I use before I decided if she had a case or not? And then once I've written a little description here, I can close out my snap thought. I have the opportunity to take 5 pictures during a snap thought or during a gameplay opportunity. We'll exit out and then students could continue playing the game and use that snap thought tool. When students are playing a game that's snap thought enabled, they will have a little button at the top in this orange bar that says submit to teacher. That is for when they've completed the game or when it's time for them to send you or submit their snap thoughts so you can assess their level of thinking. Were they showing content area vocabulary as they were playing? Set up your expectations for students to show their thinking while they're playing any type of game within Brainpop. Next, we're going to take a look at Sortify, which is a Brainpop made game. And I'm going to click on Sortify Animals. And again, just like any other gameplay, I would recommend playing a game all the way out yourself before you introduce it to your students. And then again, the mode of operation should be, well, ask your students, what do you notice? What should I do? And they'll say, oh, I see all sorts of different animals. It said I should drag a tile to start. And I'll ask a student, well, where should I start? And then maybe they'll say, well, let's drag the elephant into a bucket. And as soon as they've made their first move, up will pop labels. And you can see the labels are worth different levels of points. So I might ask them, well, what label works for an elephant? If all I can come up with is an elephant has eyes, that's going to get me only 1 point per item I put in there. But if I know that elephants are vertebrates, I can put that label on a bucket, and now that becomes my vertebrae bucket, 3 points per item. So students can drag other animals that they think are vertebrates. At any point that they think they've sorted everything that can go in that bucket, they can submit that bucket. It'll instantly give them verification if they are correct. And if there's an incorrect item, that item will get shuffled back into the Sortify game. When they press continue, that item will come back and they'll have the opportunity to try it again. So I have 10 buckets remaining, and my goal is to sort all the animals into a labeled bucket with 10 more tries. They can change labels of buckets if they change their mind and want to try to earn some more points or realize that they don't have opportunities to use up those tiles. Notice also that Sortify has that snap thought tool. So if students have sorted a bucket, I would expect them to take a picture of that bucket and then type their thinking to show why or what attributes they found on those animals that caused them to sort it in the correct bucket. So they might say mammals have fur, mammals give birth to live young, and so on. So that is the game Sortify. There are lots of different Sortify games within Brainpop. All right, the last thing we'll take a look at within Brainpop is creative coding. Many of the topics that you'll search within Brainpop, you will see this green icon with coding symbols, and it will offer 3 different types of projects that they could creatively code to show their knowledge of a topic that you've studied in class. All of these projects are powered by a coding website that maybe you've heard of called Scratch. I have a direct link in the slide deck to teaching resources specific to creative coding, but we'll exit out of the slide deck and head back over to that Martin Luther King Jr. search, scroll down, and there's that creative coding button. I will click on it, and you'll see I can click on if I want to look at some examples of other coding projects. They won't be Martin Luther King Jr. coding projects, but other ones. And you can see at the K2 level, students have the opportunity to code a museum, code a story, or code a game, a sorting game that they create. So I'm going to click on coding a game, which many students will navigate towards. Create a coding game to show what you know about Martin Luther King Jr. We're going to click Start Coding. So this is powered by a website called Scratch, but it's integrated right into Brainpop. When students open this up for the first time, a video will pop up that will show them how this interface works. If I click Show Me, it's going to take me step by step what I should do to start coding. So this little diagram is showing me that I need to move over to this section and I need to add a sprite, which is just a word for a character. And we're going to teach about Martin Luther King Jr. Maybe they're going to teach about Rosa Parks or something else related to the civil rights movement. So we'll click on this picture of Martin. And now I've added Martin. Choose a sprite to explain the rules of your game. And once I've done that, now I can click Next. So each of these steps is going to tell the students exactly what to do, and students can drag this step around. So it's going to say now it's going to tell exactly what type of block I need to drag from the coding blocks on the left side of the screen. You can see there's a more blocks button. So students that are ready for more options can click it and more different types of coding blocks will show up. It could be pretty overwhelming if 20 or so coding blocks show off on the left side. So they start with just 5 coding blocks. So I'm going to drag the one that's shown in the directions. And it says to connect a win flag checked block. So I'm going to do exactly what it's showing, and I'm going to drag over. A little bit of a lag there, and connect. Now I've done that step, so I can click Next. So students are able to work through step by step how they can make this coding project. Or if they have experience with using Scratch, they'll be able to dive right in and start adding. This program will allow them to code what their characters are going to say. They can code costumes for their characters and also add sounds to their characters. So they can create a game that maybe says, click the item that's not associated with Martin Luther King Jr., and they could make it play a buzzer sound when that character is clicked. I can click in the box where it says hello, and I can type any message that I want. I am Martin Luther King Jr., and I can change the number of seconds. Now, this is not going to be spoken by the character, but rather it will be in a speech bubble. So maybe I'll change it to 10 seconds. So it shows up a little longer and gives them a chance to read. So students can go through all of the directions step by step. They can also add different backdrops, so they don't have to have this blue background. They can use the fill bucket. They can add text. They can use all sorts of tools that are similar to what they might see in Google Drawings and so on. At any point, they can click the Start button, and they can see in their little mini screen, well, what's going to happen when I press Start? Oh, well, Martin's going to say, I am Martin Luther King Jr. So they could create a game. They can create a little narration, all through the use of coding. So that just gives you a brief insight into how you can use coding as a creative add-on to a social studies topic, or any topic for that matter that you're learning about in class. So this concludes our recorded version of your Brainpop training. The idea is that you take this training and you apply it as soon as possible. Dive into lesson planning and think of a topic that you might be able to pair a movie with an activity. Preview a movie, look for those pause, pre-plan those pause and turn and talk points. Dive into the educator lesson guide, or maybe you want to explore Game Up or Sortify and think of how you could use that to expand students' knowledge about a topic that you're researching. I hope you found this training enjoyable. I hope you learned something, and please don't hesitate to reach out to your school's tech coach or your media specialist, and they will be able to help you integrate Brainpop into your classroom. Thanks for listening, and have a great day.